Hi. Today, I'm going to explain a 2014 Italian fantasy superhero film called The Invisible Boy. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with a skinny sick man locked in a room, trying to draw something on the wall with a chisel. Across the supervision room, one doctor and one commander are watching him. When the older man finishes the painting, he passes out from exhaustion. An infant sock falls off his left hand. The commander immediately calls someone to inform them about what they see from the painting on the wall. It's a coastal city. Michele silently rushes to a costume shop in that city, where he insists on having a Spider-Man outfit. However, the shop owner refuses to open the door since it's not yet time. In the class, the teacher takes his phone away. At the same time, the principal and a police inspector enter and say that Martino has gone missing for 2 days. That inspector is Michele's single mom, Giovanna. When the two leave, all of a sudden Michele has a nose bleeding. He then goes to the restroom to wash it. As the school bell rings, two bully boys break the door, robbing the $50 note and using a paint gun to shoot at Michele. The poor boy is chased and humiliated while his peers can't stop laughing at him. After getting home, Michele sees his cousin in a bee costume. He turns on his laptop, visits Stella's Facebook, and decides to join the Halloween party in her house. Michele opens an old box and takes a smaller bill. Then he goes to a shop full of creepy costumes and masks. Michele is offered to buy a renowned Chinese costume of a superhero who has mysterious superpowers. At the party, Michele doesn't seem to fit the crowd full of outstanding costumes. He meets Stella, who's in Marie Antoinette's costume. He is then teased for his stupid outfit by the short one of two bullies, Brando. Suddenly, a video of Michele secretly stalking Stella is shown to everyone on the screen by the bullies. Feeling angry, Stella asks Michele if that's the truth, but he runs away and locks himself in the bathroom. He looks at the mirror and angrily asks the costume to make him invisible. When the light goes out, Michele jumps out of the window and runs back home. The following day, after getting up, Michele's dog Mario keeps on whining at him. When he's brushing his teeth, he is so shocked because he can't see himself in the mirror. He takes off the shower jacket, being naked inside his room, but his mom can't see him. He becomes invisible as he wishes the night before. Giovanna thinks that he's hiding under the bed, but it's not him, it's Mario. Michele leaves his mom a note, saying that he has to go to school early. Realizing his smell, the dog comes to Michele and barks, which makes Giovanna feel weird because it's just a picture in that position. After that, Michele dresses up like a ninja, covers his whole body, and rides to school. After seeing Ivan, Michele takes off his clothes and goes to the classroom. Next, Michele uses Ivan's paint gun to shoot the teacher at the board, making her angry at Ivan. He sneaks into the teacher's room and fancies his exam with the correct answers. Next, he goes to the tennis court where Brando is practicing and destroys his match. In the changing room, tennis balls move by themselves, which makes Brando astonished. He follows a ball to the restroom and suddenly hears a voice from nobody. He runs away in panic. Michele then goes back to school. He goes to the girls' changing room and looks at the girls in their underwear walking around him. All of a sudden, a girl throws a towel at him. At that moment, he returns visible, which makes the girl scream. Facing his mom's queries about that trouble, Michele doesn't share his secret. His nose bleeds again. A moment later, Giovanna receives a call and says that Brando has also gone missing. In a psychology class of Dr. Bossoli, Michele's hand becomes invisible so that she has to cover it under his jacket sleeve. As the school bell rings, Michele rushes home. Arriving at his room, he requires Candela to move outside, but he doesn't know that she's still inside the room, watching him take off his scarf and become invisible. Michele has to cover her mouth to stop her from screaming and explains the costume to her. Candela considers it magic and thinks that he can help other people with his superpower. When his mom calls him, Michele pretends like he's not at home. His mom worries about him so much that she starts smoking again after 12 years. She accidentally reveals that Michele is not her real son when she's talking on the phone with her mom. Hearing all of her words, Michele runs out of the house in sadness. The next day, when sitting alone on the swing invisibly, Stella's coming toward Michele. Without being scared of the moving swing, Stella talks to Michele and even gives him candy. He draws a face on the sand, and Stella adds a smile to it. After seeing the smiley icon on the room window at night, Stella lets him in and hides him from her mother. To feel his existence, Stella comes closer to him, and they accidentally kiss. Realizing that he's returning visible again, Michele jumps out of the window and goes home. At the mini stadium, Stella is practicing gymnastics. Michele's walking his dog there to tell her the truth and apologize to her. However, a man in black shoots her with a dart gun, making her unconscious. Witnessing that man kidnaps Stella, Michele and his dogs try to rescue her, but they can't. Right after that, the police come, including Giovanna. She praises him for doing a good job. After being taken away, Stella is awake. 2 doctors are doing some tests on her. Then one man claims that she's not the one they're looking for. Having worried about Stella, Michele decides to rescue his crush by himself. He goes home to look for the costume. Unfortunately, it shrinks due to the washing. Michele asks his cousin to put it on. However, it doesn't work. He blames his mom for destroying it, denies being her son, and runs away. Meanwhile, Stella reunites with the missing boys, Martino and Brando. At the port, Michele meets the mysterious man looking at him last time. He tells Michele that he's Andre, his dad. Andre reveals everything about their past. Because of a radioactive disaster, many people died and got sick. Only some of the remaining people have their DNA changed, which turned them into Supermen. All superhumans were locked somewhere in Siberia, tested and used for evil purposes by the company. Andre can read people's thoughts. One day, his real mom came, they had the same fear and fell in love with each other, and Michele was their first son. Worrying about the safety of their son, they brought him away. Unfortunately, they dropped a sock of the baby, which the company's military dog caught. His mom gave him to his dad and fought against the military. She became invisible and attacked the enemies. Sadly, they defeated her in the end, but she had already passed her superpower to her son, Michele. Being scared of the son's safety, Andre had no choice but to leave him in front of Giovanna's house, whom he knew to be a good policewoman. He believed she could protect Michele. Therefore, Andre erases his memory. Then, he gives Michele a suit, which can make him invisible without taking off the clothes. As soon as arriving home, Michele runs to his room to change the new costume. When Dr. Bossoli gives him the cookies, Michele sees a wound covered with a cloth bandage. Knowing he belongs to the company, Michele tries to escape but fails because all of the doors are locked. Putting on the suit, Michele becomes invisible. Michele attacks Bossoli with a knife, but Michele can't hurt him. Bossoli uses powder to identify Michele's position. He also persuades Michele that with his support, Michele can maximize his superpower. However, Michele kicks him in the leg and escapes. Michele then gets on Ivan's motorbike and tells him to drive away quickly. Michele shows off himself to Ivan and tries to explain everything to him. She finds big limelight on the top of the building and draws a smiley on it before lighting it up to the sky. Having realized the signal from Stella, Ivan and Michele hurry to get there. After Ivan shoots the controlling system on the gate, Michele goes inside the base and finds Bossoli here. The guard catches Stella on the rooftop and retrieves her back to the cell. Witnessing that, Michele hits him with a fire extinguisher, takes his gun, and forces the 2 guards to get into the cell, letting the 2 missing boys out. However, Stella tells Michele that there is also an older man being trapped in the ship. Then, he follows Stella to rescue the older man. As they get closer, Stella suddenly changes her face and points the gun at Michele. It turns out to be a trap, and Stella is controlled by that old guy, who is confirmed to belong to the company. He also admits to manipulating Bossoli. Michele can't do anything but surrender. Outside the base, Ivan meets Giovanna and Michele's dad. Andre knows Michele's not inside the ground but in the ship, and this base is about to explode. They rescue the 2 boys and go to the bottom. Discovering Dr. Bossoli in a room, Giovanna wants to kill him, but Andre stops her because he knows that Bossoli's not lying. As soon as all of them run out of the base, it explodes. Giovanna is still looking for her son Michele and the girl. In the ship, Michele has no choice but to execute his superpower, killing all the guards. He and Stella get into the control room. They control the system and succeed in floating up to the water surface. After that, Andre decides to delete the people's memory relating to this event because he's afraid that Michele will be in trouble again. Everyone then returns to their normal life. The scene cuts to somewhere in Russia. Michele's mother, who was thought to be dead, was only wounded in the encounter. She had defeated the division back then and is now ruling it. In fact, she was the one who sent those people to get Michele back to her. The woman is now against all the normal people who look at them as if they are freaks. At last, a guard informs her that although they lost Michele, they have found his twin sister Natasha. A clip of the past shows us that Andre ran away with 2 children that day. The movie ends as the guard tells Michele's mother that Natasha is somewhere in Morocco, hinting towards a sequel.